Welcome to the channel. Today, we're beginning a fascinating journey through Robert Greene's book, The 48 Laws of Power, a work that unveils the invisible mechanisms of power throughout history. This isn't a book about morals or ethics, but rather a pragmatic manual about how power actually works in the real world, based on 3,000 years of human history. Before we dive into the first law, it's important to understand the context. Robert Greene spent years studying historical figures, from Roman emperors to Chinese strategists, from Renaissance courtiers to modern leaders, and identified patterns that constantly repeat themselves. Power has its own rules, and those who ignore them usually pay a heavy price. Today, we're exploring law number 1. Perhaps one of the most counterintuitive and controversial laws in the book. Never outshine the master. It sounds simple, but the implications are profound, and the consequences of violating it can be devastating for your career and even your life. Imagine the following situation. You're brilliant, talented, full of innovative ideas. You work for someone powerful, and you want to impress. You want to show your value. The natural temptation is to shine as much as possible, right? Wrong. This is precisely the fatal mistake that Greene warns us to avoid. Law number 1 teaches us that those above us, especially our direct superiors, need to feel superior, not just in title, but in capability, intelligence, and achievement. When we make them feel insecure or diminished, even unintentionally, we create powerful enemies who can destroy us. Greene illustrates this with fascinating stories from history. One of the most impactful is that of Nicolas Fouquet, finance minister to Louis XIV of France. Fouquet was incredibly competent, wealthy, and influential. In 1661, he decided to impress the young king with an extravagant party at his magnificent chateau of Vaux-le-Vicomte. The party was dazzling. The most beautiful gardens in France, spectacular fountains, exotic food, world-class entertainment. Fouquet wanted to show his good taste, his wealth, his power, but he made a fatal mistake. He outshone the king. Louis XIV himself had nothing that compared to that splendor. What happened next? 3 weeks later, Fouquet was arrested on charges of embezzlement. He spent the rest of his life in prison. The real crime wasn't stealing from the state. Many did that. The crime was making the king feel inferior, small, outshone. Louis XIV never forgave that public humiliation. This story teaches us something crucial. No matter how talented we are, we need to make our superiors shine. Power is like the sun. You cannot look directly at it without consequences. When we work for someone powerful, our role is to enhance their glory, not our own. But attention, this doesn't mean being incompetent or completely hiding your talents. It means being strategic. It means doing your work brilliantly, but always attributing credit to your superior. It means making your ideas seem like they came from them, or at least that they were perfected by their wisdom. Greene also gives us the opposite example. Galileo Galilei, the great astronomer. Galileo was brilliant, but he was also shrewd. When he made his revolutionary discoveries about Jupiter's moons, he didn't call them Galileo's moons. He called them the Medici stars, in honor of a powerful family that ruled Florence. This clever move guaranteed him powerful patrons, protection, and resources to continue his work. Galileo understood that power isn't about receiving direct credit, but about achieving your goals. And for that, he needed the support of the powerful, not their envy. Now, you might be thinking, but isn't this manipulation? Isn't it dishonest? Greene would be the first to say yes, it is manipulation. But the world of power has always been this way. The question isn't whether these dynamics exist, but whether you're going to recognize them and navigate skillfully or ignore them. and suffer the consequences. Think about modern examples. How many brilliant executives have seen their careers stagnate because they made the boss look incompetent? How many talented collaborators were fired, not for incompetence, but for making their superior feel threatened? It happens every day in every organization. The key is finding the balance. Be excellent at what you do, but discreet in how you present it. When you have a brilliant idea, present it as an extension of your superior's vision. When you solve a problem, make it seem like you followed their wise guidance. Greene also warns us about a specific danger. Never, ever publicly correct your superior, even if you're right. Even if it's important, doing so is humiliating them, and public humiliation is never forgotten or forgiven. If you need to correct something, do it privately, with tact, as if it were your doubt and not their mistake. There's ancient wisdom in this. In Chinese imperial courts, wise advisors developed the art of advising the emperor without ever seeming smarter. They used parables, indirect stories, questions that led the emperor to reach conclusions on his own. This way, the emperor felt wise, and the advisor remained alive and influential. This first law is fundamental because it establishes a principle that permeates the entire book. Power isn't about justice or merit. It's about perception and psychological dynamics. Those who understand this have an enormous advantage over those who live in an idealized world where pure talent should be enough. So, how do you apply this in practice? First, observe your superior's ego. Everyone has one, but some are more fragile than others. The more insecure your boss is, the more crucial it is to follow this law. Second, publicly celebrate their victories. Even when the work was yours, private recognition will come, and it's more valuable. Third, when presenting ideas, frame them as extensions of the existing vision. Use phrases like following your direction or inspired by your approach. This isn't empty flattery if done with subtlety. It's strategic intelligence. Fourth, never compete directly with your superior, especially in public. And finally, remember, this law isn't forever. It's for while you're under someone's power. When you reach your own position of power, the dynamics change. But until then, patience and strategy are your best allies. This was law number 1 of the 48 laws of power. Never outshine the master. In the next videos, we'll explore the remaining laws, each one revealing more about how power really works. If you enjoyed this content, leave your like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next lessons. Remember, knowledge is power, but only if you know how to use it. Until the next video.